It seems to have a glow sometimes, a vibration. You can feel it or see it almost. Just bringing a lot of friends and family out in a positive environment, all that energy is like that human energy, that positive human energy. It's pure, or it's like happy. Trying to get more ideas to diversify the farm. I like to keep diversifying. That's why I got into hemp, CBD. In hemp, when I grow it, I'll grow 1 to 2 acres. I grew it in 2019, 2020, 22, so 3 different years. Farm bill made it legal in like maybe 17, 18, somewhere in there. A lot of people didn't get into it right away because they didn't know what to expect. And then by 2019, there was enough influence and information out there that a lot of farmers gave it a shot. I think it's an interesting plant. I love my forests, and the more I learn about the forests, I can apply those concepts more to hemp than any other plant, like base trimming and just the way it grows. It reminds me of growing a lot like a tree. It's related to hackberry and hops. I grew Artemisia annua last year. I'd love to try it again. I know Brian's doing it this year again, so I'll be giving it a shot. Brian, he does the stirring of the preps, but there's a community, and it's largely run by the help of Brian and a couple local people with the Mercola Biodynamic Association. They do a lot of the burying and digging. It's kind of a community event. And I feel good when I spray biodynamics. Like, it's a feel-good experience. It's work, but it feels good. So yeah, I felt it was pretty open process where there was several phone calls, many phone calls with everybody in the line, from the guy who processes it to me and Brian, and then maybe 2 or 3 people that work in the chain with Mercola would be on phone calls and kind of figuring this whole thing out for what seemed to be a long time. I'm less and less involved because Brian kind of champions that, and which is great. I'm super busy, but yeah, the invitation's there to be involved. It's great. Brian likes to call it associative economics, where everybody at the table, everybody in the line, everybody in the supply chain should be able to do well. So yeah, that's a little bit of being fortunate and thankful for the relationship, and I think that helps build it, and I'm fortunate to have a market for my hemp and to know that it's going into such a high quality product like it is into Mercola's portfolio. It looks great.
I've always been a casual student of it, and always understood the fact that biodynamics is, kind of a couple steps above organic in its sophistication and its mystery. About 20 years ago, I was working with another maple farmer that was really into biodynamic and wanted us to figure it out. But at the time, there wasn't the infrastructure or the knowledge here in Viroqua to do all the preparations and all of the different things that you needed to do. Then Brian Wickert came along and said, I think we need to figure out how to move biodynamic into a maple forest, because there's really no best practices or any kind of history about biodynamic with maple forest, or there's not a whole lot with forest, if I'm understanding as well. Actually, the person that drove it was Brian, working with the Mercola organization to come up with more biodynamic products. And the idea is can we move, what are the practices that can move into the maple forest that are biodynamic, that make sense? And the price difference, because we took a dedicated kind of contract with Mercola and Brian, he worked with us, Brian did, to understand what our production costs were and what it's going to cost us to do the extra spraying and the extra practices, and then asked us what was a reasonable pay price for us just to cover our own other base expenses. And we don't know if that's the right amount. We'll find out. But the nice thing is that the Soul Spring folks and the Mercola organization are really wanting to work with us to figure out what that right spot is so that we can know together and be transparent about our cost and what we're trying to do. And if you think about the type of agricultures that we have today, it's, you till up the soil every year. This is permaculture at its best. It's probably one of the most sustainable products on the market. If you just think about all the things the forest provides, it's pretty amazing in carbon sequestration that happens, the amount of water mitigation that it cleans water, it slows water down, you're creating oxygen and CO2 and sequestering it. And you look at the biodiversity, we've talked about the forest cover and how the wide variety of plant life that we have here. And it's been around for a long time, and it's really important that we keep forest around.
My name's Brian Wickert. I live in Mercola, Wisconsin. I'm a biodynamic vegetable herb farmer, and we started to make all the preparations in 1997. Since that time, we've been one of the places in the country that makes all the biodynamic preparations. We look at biodynamic as a whole organism. We're not isolated, we're not a silo. So we look at a picture of it being a whole organism and everything being in there. And if you do that, you look at things differently rather than just bringing inputs in. You want to grow your own inputs. With biodynamic, ideally you have animals, crop rotation, seed saving, all the things you do so your farm is more sustainable than a big monoculture. And most of the crops today are monoculture, whether it's corn, soybeans, tomatoes, avocados, you name it. They've made these big orchards or fields. That's all monoculture. With biodynamics, we want diversity. So the insects, plants, the animals, everything can survive in this because we're all in this together. The biodynamics is really way ahead, but they've been doing it since 1924, so way ahead in the thinking today of diversity and regeneration. We've been doing this for 100 years. It's not something that's the newest fad for us. And traditionally, biodynamic farms are not huge. And the problem with biodynamic farms is trying to make a living, competing against the cheapest food in the world. As you're looking at this, and you're thinking, why should I buy biodynamic food? I can think of about several reasons. The biodynamic food is more nutritious, and I say that because it lasts longer on the shelf, it stores longer. Another part, we have what we call associative economics. And a really simple way to describe it is we want to make sure everybody in the supply chain makes money. So we're concerned about the guy below us as well as the guy above us in the supply chain. Everybody making a living, just like we look out for everything on the farm, how we affect it. In the economic realm, we're concerned about how everybody's making their living. And it's lifestyle, healthy, not just 80 hours a week, if they can never catch up, but to have a healthy lifestyle. So that's what Mercola has done. They'll probably have more biodynamic products selling than any company in the country this year. I mean, the company is like I say, a dream come true to work for.